Hello and welcome to the Musty Creative Podcast. I'm your host, Jesús, and I'm joined by my friend and yours,
Michelle.
Hey!
Hey!
It's been a while.
It has been a while.
It has been a while.
Mm-hmm.
And we are not going to apologize because I have been injured. And we have been working really hard. So we're just here to talk. And we are the Musty Collective, creators on a journey to better storytelling. If this is your first time listening to us, thank you for joining us today. Thanks for spending time listening to us wherever you are, walking your dog, driving your car, I don't know, doing your thing.
Driving your dog?
Driving your...
Walking your car?
Nope, I'm not doing that with you. All right. Thank you for joining us today. Even though it's musty in here. Today, we are going to talk about 2022. It's been a long time coming. It's March, we know, but we've had this episode written out for a while, so we're just going to do it. And basically, how did 2022 go for storytelling? The time that you'll be listening to this, the Oscars, that wraps up, in my opinion, wraps up film making and storytelling, at least in my mind, for 2022. That's one of the reasons why I think it's important. It's like the final hoorah. It's the last big award show to happen that kind of marks 2022. So it would have been over. So those votes are in. Those awards have been given out, and I'm probably really peeved on Wednesday. So check in on me. But anyways, we're looking forward to 2023. And we're going to talk about Avatar 2 because I promised y'all I would talk about Avatar 2.
Mm-hmm.
So without further ado, let's start the show.
So, okay, like you mentioned earlier, you said you were injured. So how have you been?
I have been doing a lot better. And just to keep it short, I was honestly in a dark place, personally for me, emotionally. I'm an extrovert, proud extrovert. I do love time by myself and being alone, but being forced to be cut off from people was really hard for me, to be honest. So, and the surgery went well. It was a success. It was a success to reattach my Achilles tendon, but it was very painful after the surgery.
Mm-hmm.
And I was not in a good place.
Yeah.
I'm in a much better place now.
Mm-hmm.
But that's my short answer.
Wow.
Anyways, let's talk about Avatar 2.
Okay.
Who would have thought that James Cameron, over an entire decade later, would release another box office hit with an Avatar sequel, Avatar: The Way of Water? Did you enjoy watching the second Avatar film, Michelle?
I did, but I have to share one caveat. I hate watching films in 3D.
You can't say that about this film. It's literally made for 3D.
No, I know it's made for 3D, but it's so... I don't know why. It's very like disorienting to me, and it's hard for me to like see. I don't know if it's just my vision or whatever, but I don't like 3D. And we watched this with the 3D glasses and everything, and it was just bugging me the whole time. But the movie itself was great. I wish I saw it in 2D so I could fully enjoy it.
Okay, what if James Cameron put this in a VR 360-degree experience? You put on our Quest here at home, and you strap that on. You load up Avatar: The Way of Water, and you're immersed fully in Pandora with a 360-degree view. Would that be okay?
Yeah, that would be different.
Okay. All right, because to me, there's no other better way to enjoy and immerse yourself in the world of Avatar, in the world of Pandora, to be a Na'vi. There's no better way to do it than 3D. I completely disagree with you, but I respect your opinion.
Thank you.
I personally really like The Way of Water. I've seen it twice in theaters, and I would see it again, but I can't drive myself to the theater. So Michelle actually has to do important things to keep us afloat and alive. Anyways, so I actually like Way of Water more than the first Avatar film. I have been told I am incorrect, and people disagree with me on that point. But I would contend that the story plot is actually more original than the first screenplay. And the story built well off of what we had previously experienced. And that's really the end-all be-all argument. And you can say that Jake was better and... what's his partner's name? I just forgot her name. Anyways, you could say my Jake was better. In like as far as his character development in the first movie. And I would agree with you. It was kind of dispersed among the children, really, and it was more about the children and their journey through the Way of Water. Mm-hmm. But besides that point, this was a script that was actually original and really spoke on something different than essentially copying from Ferngully or Dances with Wolves, which is what, in my opinion, James Cameron did. And there's nothing wrong with that. But let's just acknowledge it for what it is. Avatar: The Way of Water actually was original. It told some actual different storytelling, and it brought me through the act 1, 2, and 3 process in a nice and beautiful way. And it was so immersive, and the music was so enthralling. It really just made me think, what if it was possible to be in another world?
High praise.
Yes.
I think I'm glad you enjoyed it. I would agree that it did feel original. I think it was definitely something new. There are some elements to it that did feel a little like I may have seen it before in other movies.
Like
but
what?
Just like, I don't know.
You've never seen a Na'vi before in movies.
Not that. It's just like the context of like the family relationships and stuff. Like I've seen that
the tropes.
before. Yeah,
they're the tropes. That's true.
So yeah, and that way it was like familiar. But I think it was really great. It was a very long movie. 10 hours long.
Don't stop playing. Stop playing with that.
It was good. It was a good 10 hours. So for characters and plot points, we want to highlight a few things. So Jake and his family. Pretty much it's kind of like a blended family.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So there's like, I don't even know how to describe it. Okay, it's Jake, Neytiri.
There's Kiri,
who is actually an old woman.
Yeah, really, that's what I think. They try to hold this mystery of like, who is my daddy? Who is my daddy? It's essentially Sigourney Weaver's character reborn as a teenage woman, in my personal opinion.
Yeah.
And it's actually voiced by Sigourney Weaver. And she did a great job voicing a teenage girl, to be honest. And then there's the two brothers, and then there's like the little brat.
Spider.
No, the little brat girl.
Oh, there's the girl, but then there's also
I don't count
Spider.
Spider as part of the family. I don't count him as part of the family.
I mean, he was hanging out with everyone. Anyway.
Doesn't mean he's part of the family. Especially after the end of the movie.
Well, we'll get into that. But, yeah, so pretty much he's trying to protect his family. Kind of like he was...
Jake is, yeah.
Yeah, Jake. Like he was learning how to protect the Na'vis in the first film.
Right.
He is now I think it's narrowed down to like I need to protect my family.
And to be honest, I think the film did a great job in zeroing in on the focus of the film instead of making it about the entire Navi forest tribe or the entire Navi water tribe or clan. And I think focusing it on his family and getting really into the characters, to be honest, even though unfortunately I don't remember their names, like I can see the older brother or at least the younger brother and Kiri and kind of like hear them talk, and I know who they are and what they're going to do. I got to really know them as characters.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that was really cool. And then there were a lot of different family dynamics here. So there was like father and son relationships and mother and daughter relationships. Did you have anything you want to say about that?
Yeah, so there's the father and son arcs. There's Jake and his two sons, and it makes me sad because I'm an older brother, but the older brother does everything right and then dies on behalf of the younger brother.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, spoiler alert. I mean, if you haven't seen it, you haven't seen it. That's, you're listening to the Musty Crate podcast. We do no spoiler warnings here, or we do sometimes, but the point is we're going to talk about this film. Anyways, but then you have the younger son of Jake going through this whole process, and he's really like the focus. It looks like he's going to be taking over for Jake as the main character of this franchise moving forward. And he makes all these decisions that are actually good, but they endanger other people, like his brother, like his sisters, like Spider, like his family. His decisions lead to them having to leave the forest area and head to the water. And his decision to go like hang out with the horned whale that was outcast was a good decision, but it also leads them into like just more trouble. And leads to, and then him having to go save Spider, which is again why I dislike Spider, gets his older brother killed. So it's just all these situations that are happening. And Jake, you see him struggling as a father, really. He wants to protect his sons. He wants to raise them right. He wants to raise them up as soldiers, but he's struggling. And you see him kind of have that scene with his oldest son at the end of towards the end of the film, where he just gets to like be with him and hold him once again, you know, as a younger version of himself. And I think, I'm not a father, but I would be pissed if I lost my son, and especially in war. So I just think that was very interesting there. And then you have the idea of Spider and his father, who actually is the old antagonist villain from the first movie, come back reborn into a Navi body. And Spider, and this is what I do think is a little off with this film, is throughout all this time he has spent most of his life with this Navi family, and he kind of betrays them at the very end because of his biological link to his father. And I think it's just I think this is very interesting what they're going to do with that and how this is going to play out in the franchise.
I think it's interesting though, because it kind of, especially like with the horned whales situation and stuff, it really talks about like being an outcast and not fitting in. And I feel
That's
like
true.
with Spider too, he always must have felt like an outcast with the Navis.
They definitely display it, like he's painting himself blue at the beginning of the film so that the natural world doesn't attack him. And people keep talking about that he doesn't have a tail. It's that's true.
Yeah.
That's a super good point.
So he must
Outcasting is definitely a major like word, or outcast is a major word in this film.
Yeah, so he must have like some kind of, I mean, I feel like that's what drew him to make that decision, because he actually felt like, even though that character was a Navi, in a way, the father, he still was drawn to him because he wanted community and he wanted to be part of that.
Yeah, and also I what I do like about this film is that it does speak to that father and son relationship, and you know, as a son who has a father, and hopefully one day I will have a son as well. It's something that I'm drawn to as a man, to kind of learn from these stories, these examples of like, how would it be to be a father? What is it like? What is the right way to be the right son or the correct son or the obedient son or the son that does the thing that is important. It's hard. You had two examples, and it I don't want to die, not yet. So it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to watch, but it's very interesting. I do want to touch on, before we move on, I want to touch on the final battle, and it was it was very interesting. Like the beginning of it, like I was getting hyped up, not as much as like watching Marvel's Avengers Endgame, that kind of hyped up, but it was pretty hyped because you knew both groups wanted to kill and tear each other apart. And when the Na'vi were finally loosed and they weren't just like holding back, and they're like, okay, we're just gonna go all in, and then the horned whale, the outcast horned whale, comes out and like just destroys and murders their boat and starts like they dismember, like the horned whale helped to dismember arms and limbs, like from the humans, like the outsiders. So it was really, really epic. But the moment where Neytiri, Zoe Saldana's character, makes the decision to put a knife to Spider's throat, that's when the movie really became real. Right? It was real the whole time, but like it got real. Like there was some real consequences going to be here. And she had, like, when she saw her son dead, her eldest son, and like she just got like, and Jake was like trying to tell her, I need you to be strong. He should have left her behind there so she couldn't make that kind of decision, and left her there so she could just grieve her son. But when he told her you need to be strong, and she put on those warrior eyes, she like blacked out, and she looked scary as a mug on that boat killing those humans. I was like, to be honest, after watching this film, I'd rather take on Jake, even though he's a trained soldier. I'd rather take on Jake than Neytiri any day, because Neytiri is like, when she got into that mode, I don't want to like demean her, so I'm not gonna say any of the words that would demean her and her character, because we gotta check this. Like, they're Na'vi, but they're still like people. We gotta be careful what we say. But like, she like blacked out and just went in full, I'm going to get revenge for my death of my son, and I totally relate to that. But the fact that she stepped across the line and was willing to slit Spider's throat, like, those are going to have some consequences in the next upcoming films, and I'm here to see it. And I do think James Cameron did a brilliant job of making me want to see the next film.
So how did the movie make you feel, and why?
I felt love. I felt joy. I felt a lot of joy in like the first 3/4 of the film. And then I felt super sad because, again, the brother's death, even though he wasn't like a meaningful character because they didn't spend much time on him, building him up, it was just sad to see him go. And also because it was very discouraging. Like, the humans seem to like, they really want Pandora and its resources, and they have the strength and the military might and technology to do it. And I just don't see how the Na'vi can actually win, which is good from a story perspective, because now like they have to build an answer to actually finally push back the humans and say, look, you cannot have Pandora. But I feel really bad for the Na'vi, and it's just sad to see this kind of colonization, and it's like worldwide massive colonization, and it's just like humans just don't listen, they don't learn, and it's just really disheartening.
Yeah, I think for me it felt like it was like euphoric in a way in the beginning, because it was just so beautiful and you wanted to be there, but then
that's a good word, euphoric. I like that.
People just screw it up. Humanity just like has to ruin everything. So like, I don't know, it just felt more, it went from being like this heavenly type of place to Earth.
Yeah. Just
that makes
another
sense.
Earth with its Earth problems.
Yeah.
But for real, like, if there was a way to create like an immersive VR experience where you could just travel through Pandora and it was full VR, man, I would be in there every day. It was amazing.
So does this film kindle love?
Yes, because of the family dynamics. Like, that's one thing that was so nice and so wholesome about this film, is the family members did care about each other. I'm not counting Spider. They really, like, even down to little Took, like, and her and Kiri's relationship as older sister to the younger sister, they really did care about each other. And, you know, I love the scene. It's childish. It's a very tropey scene. But when Kiri gets picked on, then the two brothers come in and start fighting. I mean, I love those kind of scenes. I'm a full-blooded red American, whatever you're going to call it. It's just those kind of scenes just warm my heart. I'm like, yes, fight for your family. So, yes, I think this film did kindle love. So, Michelle, did Avatar: The Way of Water kindle love for you? Uh-oh.
Hot take. No.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It kindled more hatred for what humans do to this earth.
Dang.
Honestly,
That's a strong word.
Because, like, if that whole ending scene didn't happen, sure, it kindled love, family relationships and everything, but, like, it makes me, I think that's the purpose of these films, is to make you mad about what destructive behaviors humans are doing for the sake of gain.
Yeah.
And to make you want to change and do something about it. So it definitely did that for me. Like, I feel more disgust for human beings and
For yourself? Because we're all, I put myself in there. We're all a part of it.
no, I mean, like, some of my behaviors, like, I could do better in helping nature and the planet.
Right, but we all are a part of the system that's adding to it. So even if you do better, right? Like,
Yeah. Well, I mean, just statistically, it's the big corporations that need to do better, because the little things that us little folk do doesn't do that much change. But if the big corporations changed, that would help everyone else to do better.
But even, like, yes, and the big corporations, totally agree with you. But I think, like, the deeper thing is just we have to change our mindset of what life is supposed to be about. And that's like a drastic change that will probably never happen.
That's depressing. On to a lighter note, I would say. Well, this could go deep too, but we recently released a ChatGPT video. If you want to watch it, it's on our YouTube channel, The Musty Creative, and it's under the name Trying ChatGPT for the First Time. So we tried ChatGPT and we thought it was really interesting. And it's a great tool, and there are plenty of people that are actually concerned about it because of copyright issues and plagiarism and all of that stuff. But it was pretty fun, and I think there are ways to use ChatGPT that are helpful and not stealing other people's ideas or copywritten work.
Yeah, I do think there are good ways to use generative AI, which is like the class of AI that has ChatGPT, Midjourney, and other AI software and out there that you can use. There are good ways to use it where you don't have to steal from other people. And, well, I don't know. Midjourney actually doesn't count, I guess. But ChatGPT can count. But as far as what we're experiencing with it, I've used it for basically helping me to write emails, helping me to write some code as well, which has been fun. Python code and C# code. That's actually been pretty cool. And so we also got a fun email from some friends over at Story Experiential, and they sent a newsletter talking about like how ChatGPT can be used for the writing process. And we just want to read a quick section of this. And it's really about the idea of like ChatGPT can be an assistant for the writing process. And they say telling ChatGPT to write a great story will not replace the writing process. And this is true. And if you watch, our video or other videos where people are, reacting or using ChatGPT, there is some work in creating the prompts, and being creative with the prompts and being like a strategist and tactician with the prompts that make the process of writing with ChatGPT possible. So anyways, that's my side note. Let's continue with the newsletter. Our program is about finding a story. This is Story Experiential. Our program is about finding a story which is meaningful and unique to you, and nobody can do this better than you. It will always be the choices you make in the writing process which define your unique voice as a writer. Tools like ChatGPT can help you as a brainstorming partner as you go through the process, and they have a couple of examples here. Generating writing prompts to inspire your creativity. This is very true. Assistance generating natural sounding dialogue for characters. Very true. I'm not great at writing dialogue in my screenplays, and Michelle is, but I'm not. And so ChatGPT actually can be very helpful for that. Research assistance. Quickly find information or historical or scientific details. Help with plot development and structure, whether it's finding a good place for an Act 1 break or a way to amplify your theme in Act 3. I'm not too sure about this because I'm still not sure. Like ChatGPT can do Acts 1, 2, 3, but their Act 3s are kind of generic and bad based on our experience so far, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, and that just proves that it's not a complete process. Like if you want like high quality stuff, there still needs to be human elements to it to like.
Oh yes. And even though they can do an Act 2, like we all know that Act 2 is the hardest thing to write in the screenplay. And it's not like ChatGPT can do that for you. And the length in which you can do it until there's going to be a more recent update coming out for ChatGPT, which will allow you, if you're a paying partner, to do like an actual novel length of text, which is going to be wild. But at this moment, you can't do a novel length of text. Mm-hmm. Okay. And then editing, help compress your story down to the core elements via summarization. That I have not done, but I do believe that is something you can do. So the whole thing that we're talking about ChatGPT, and I know that there are some problems when it comes to generative AI and software like Midjourney that's literally taking examples or copying or straight up plagiarizing artists' work. We're not talking about that because that is wrong. Mm-hmm. And we at the Musty Creative do believe that artists should be compensated, and there should be maybe some kind of tax thing that happens on companies or software like Midjourney. And I've used it. And I do like Midjourney, but it crosses the line when you can take a URL from someone's dribble and then say, make this look like this and give me 4 versions of it. I mean, that's pretty much stealing. Like, that's not cool. Mm-hmm. So anyways, but ChatGPT, I think as far as generating text and using prompts for like email prompts and like writing some summary stories and stuff like that, you can even do like podcast show notes. You're listening to a podcast right now. And I think that is awesome.
Yes.
All right. So Michelle, what was your favorite piece of storytelling in 2022?
So I couldn't pick just one, obviously, because there's just so much storytelling happening. But this is my list. The Chosen Season 3, Bel Air, Man vs. Bee, starring Rowan Atkinson, which he's just amazing at comedy. I feel like he doesn't get enough credit for that. Wednesday, that was really good. I really love Jenna Ortega in that. The Legend of Vox Machina, which is a great show by Critical Role on Amazon Prime Video. Please check it out. It's really good. The Whale, starring Brendan Fraser. The Woman King.
Woo!
And then the lesser known, Garrett Animates, which is a YouTube channel. The videos that I saw from this were him creating animated birds out of voicemails from dads leaving messages for their adult kids. And I think it's really hilarious. But this guy, I think he's an animator at Disney. So it's like really good animation, but it's really funny. What about you? What are you looking forward to in 2023?
Yes, in regards to storytelling, there's a lot to look forward to. I'm one of those optimists that I like to just look at the bright side of things, and I'm excited. 2022 wasn't as great and as grand as 2021 or 2020, but it had some bangers. One thing that you left off your list, Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Oh,
That was the best storytelling
was
of
amazing.
2022. That was pretty amazing. But you had a really good list. There's a couple things I disagree with, and I'm going to spend the next hour and a half telling you why those things should not be on your list. So here we go. Man versus Bee. I'm just playing. Okay. All right. Anyways, what are you looking forward to 2023, Jesus? Mario! It's a me.
The Mario Brothers movie?
Yeah. And you know what? Maybe Chris Pratt was the right person. I'm starting to come around.
Oh.
I'm starting to come around on him, to be honest, because maybe the Italian voice stereotype maybe wouldn't be good to put that all global with this movie. But regardless of that, it looks beautiful. Like, too beautiful for this world. Like, the animation, the colors, the way the models and the textures just bounce off the screen, like, it looks so good. I didn't think it would look that good. It looks so good. It's so weird, but it looks so good. I can't wait to watch that.
Yeah.
Then I'm also looking forward to, and it's happening now, Mando season 3. So we are watching that, and that is fun. That's all I can say right now.
Okay.
Let's see. And then lastly, I had more things on the list, but I'm actually taking stuff out. I'm excited for Fat Roll and Hubert's journey to continue in storytelling. If you've played the game, you get to the end, you'll know. If you've played the game to the end, you'll know why I'm saying this. And I'm hoping we can get back to that. So that's what I'm looking forward to right now.
Cool.
All right, well, that was it. I know it has been a long time since we released a podcast episode, but I had fun doing this.
Mm-hmm. I did too.
And yeah, we hope to be back again. And we hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you are just a long-time listener, I just want to say thank you so much. And if you're a one-time, new-time listener, thank you so much. And thanks for giving us your ears for these few minutes in your life. It's really important and precious.
Mm-hmm.
Now, our next episode, we don't know when it's going to come out, but we will finally drop the Woman King episode. We're going to talk about the controversy. We might even have a guest appearance. We're going to have the screenplay, and we're going to go through that, and we're going to go through the movie and just comb through it. This is a movie that I really, really enjoyed. I think it's being fully disrespected at the awards, in my opinion, my personal opinion.
At the Oscars.
The Oscars, the Golden Globes, I think it's being completely disrespected. The Hollywood is disappointing me this year. So we're gonna go into it. We're gonna give it its proper due, and we hope that you are ready to enjoy it. I will probably rant maybe 1 or 2 times. If you like that.
1 or 2.
Yeah.
If you would like to be featured as a guest on our show, you can email us at themustycreative@gmail.com and tell us your story. And a big thanks to our monthly supporters for helping us make this episode of the Musty Creative Podcast possible. If you want to become a financial supporter of the show, you can visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/mustycreative and help make this show the best.
Yes, and again, to the Patreon community, our supporters, people in the Musty Collective Discord, Really appreciate all of you and what you bring to the table. And thanks for your long-term support. Couldn't do this without you. You mean so much to us. And you're seeing all the behind the stuff. We've been still uploading to Patreon, and you're seeing all the behind the scenes stuff going on. So you're seeing what's coming down the pipe. There's some stuff coming down the pipe that's exciting. So we appreciate you, Patreon people. And that's all I want to say. Oh yes, so let's close the show. That's all we have time for. Remember to leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and find us on Twitter. Maybe. It's a lot of things have changed in the past couple months. Definitely still find us on Instagram and Facebook, I guess. And now it's time. Definitely find us on YouTube. Go to the Art YouTube. That's where we're uploading stuff. And now it's time to shower up.
Gives them a satisfaction they couldn't get any other way.